For 8 years, the first bill I paid every month wasn't my rent. It wasn't my car payment. It wasn't even my retirement savings. It was my parents'. On the first of every month, exactly $2,000 left my account and landed in theirs. I never missed a payment. Not once. Friends thought I was generous. My fiancé, David, thought I was loyal. Only I knew the truth. I wasn't being generous. I was keeping a promise. When I graduated from college, my father sat me down at the kitchen table. We sacrificed everything for your education. He slid a handwritten notebook across the table. Every expense from my childhood was listed inside. School clothes. Dentist visits. Piano lessons. Even groceries. At the bottom was a sentence. Family takes care of family. My mother smiled. When you start earning real money, you'll help us retire. I believed them. So when I landed my first engineering job, I began sending them money every month. The amount slowly grew. $500. Then $1,000. Eventually, $2,000. Whenever I suggested reducing it, my mother cried. We're barely making ends meet. So I kept paying. For years. Then I met David. 6 months before our wedding, he gently asked. Have you ever seen your parents' finances? I laughed. Why would I? They've needed help for years. He nodded. I know. But something doesn't add up. What do you mean? They own their home. They have pensions. They don't travel. So where does $24,000 a year go? I shrugged. I've never asked. He smiled kindly. Maybe you should. That weekend, I visited my parents. I casually mentioned budgeting. My father immediately became defensive. You don't trust us. That's not what I said. My mother wiped away imaginary tears. After everything we've done for you. I apologized. The subject ended there. Or so I thought. 3 weeks before the wedding, my father called. We can't afford new clothes. I'll buy them. He sighed dramatically. And the hotel? I'll book it. What about transportation? I'll take care of that too. By the time the wedding arrived, I'd spent nearly another $12,000 making sure my parents lacked nothing. The ceremony was beautiful. David looked happier than I'd ever seen him. As we entered the reception hall, guests applauded. My parents were already seated at the family table. My father stood to make a toast. I smiled. He cleared his throat. I'd like everyone to know how proud we are of our daughter. The room quieted. Then he laughed. Of course. She finally stopped wasting money on us. Guests chuckled politely. I frowned. What? My father grinned. Now that she's married, those monthly payments belong to her husband to worry about. The room became awkwardly quiet. David slowly looked at me. What monthly payments? My heart stopped. I had never told him. Before I could speak, my mother smiled and added. Oh, she's been sending us $2,000 every month for years. David looked stunned. You've been what? I opened my mouth to explain. But before I could, an elderly man stood up from the table near the back of the ballroom. He adjusted his glasses, looked directly at my parents, and calmly said, I think it's time everyone learned what you did with that money. The ballroom fell silent. Every guest turned toward the elderly man. I recognized him immediately. It was Mr. Harold Benson, my late grandfather's closest friend and the accountant who had handled my parents' taxes for decades. My father looked startled. Harold, what are you doing here? Mr. Benson smiled politely. The bride invited me. I had. He had been like family after Grandpa passed away. Mr. Benson slowly walked to the front of the room. "I'm very sorry to interrupt a wedding." He looked at me. "But I can't stay silent anymore." My mother stood up. "This is inappropriate." He nodded. So was today's toast. The room became perfectly quiet. Mr. Benson opened a slim folder. "For years, your daughter believed she was helping you survive." He looked around the room. "That wasn't true." I frowned. "What do you mean?" He turned toward me. "Your parents asked me never to tell you." My stomach tightened. They've received comfortable pension income for over a decade. They own their home outright. They have no mortgage. No major debt. I stared at my parents. My mother looked away. Mr. Benson continued. "The $2,000 you sent every month wasn't paying their bills. It was funding luxury investments." He laid several documents on the table. Vacation property statements. Brokerage accounts. Investment portfolios. Over 8 years, my parents had quietly accumulated assets worth well over $600,000. Using my money. Tears filled my eyes. "You told me you couldn't afford groceries." My father cleared his throat. "We were planning for the future." "My future?" "Our future." David gently took my hand. He didn't say a word. He simply stayed beside me. Mr. Benson reached into the folder one last time. "There's something else." He handed me an envelope. "Your grandfather left this with me." Across the front, in Grandpa's handwriting, were the words, "For Emma, if you ever discover the truth." I opened it with trembling hands. "My sweet granddaughter. If you're reading this, then the people you trusted have confused love with obligation." I wiped away tears. Helping family should always be a choice. Never a debt. The letter continued. "I left another account in your name many years ago. I asked Harold to protect it until you no longer believed you owed your parents your entire future." I looked up at Mr. Benson. He smiled. "Your grandfather invested regularly for you from the day you were born." He handed me another document. The balance made me gasp. $1.8 million. The room erupted in whispers. Grandpa's final words read, "This isn't repayment. It's freedom." I folded the letter against my heart. Then I turned to my parents. "I don't hate you." My voice was calm. "But the monthly payments end today." Neither of them argued. They couldn't. Months later, David and I bought our first home. Not because we suddenly became wealthy, but because we finally stopped carrying a burden that had never truly been ours. At the entrance to our home office, we framed Grandpa's favorite saying. "The greatest gift a parent can give a child is roots to grow, and wings to leave." Every time I walked past it, I remembered that real love doesn't keep score. It doesn't send invoices. And it never asks someone to spend their future paying for their past.